know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
This episode of Chief Concerns is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. From baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, the game starts here. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Chief Concerns. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn. And tonight we have ourselves a dang good episode coming up here. And also, it's the first preview episode to a game of this 2024-2025 season. So very excited about everything we got going on in this episode. JD, how we doing, brother?
Man, I am so ecstatic. I am waiting for this episode. I've asked Coach to come on here. I know he's been traveling, doing some recruiting. This is going to be a fun show. Just getting some information, some knowledge, and what better guy to do it than the national champion rugby team from the University of Kentucky. But I had to say, man, I'm over here looking at the chat, and I'm laughing at everybody talking about JD's time, Mr. Places for Dora on Wells time, man. So, you know, we like to let the chat go ahead and get nice and hot. Okay, I'll get y'all a little, talking a little bit. And so it's always fun to see you guys out there. I'm going to say what's up to everybody out there. Newt is in here already. What's up, Newt? What's going down? All right, Lacey Snake, good to see you. Winchell Hall. Let me see who else we got out of here. Dom Jones. About Time. What's up, About Time? Casey Colossal, Jeremiah De La Meritos, Alex Harden. See who else we got here. Kathy Welch, welcome. Good seeing you. Andrea Chanel, hey man, and Laura, what's up, Laura? How you doing? Look, 2 shows in a row, man. Look, I'm calling Suits, and I'm like, what is going on? So she's actually doing some yard work. That's what I was doing a little bit before here. So I might be sweating because I'm still cooling down somewhat, Marcus. Okay, so
I think we had a few guesses of you doing yard work. That's why we were late.
Oh, really?
We guessed that, yeah.
Never ending thing to do, man. How you doing? What's going on, man? You doing all right?
I'm doing great, man. I'm getting to bust out the rugby ball for another episode, so I'm really excited about this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It's secondary now. So we're football first podcast, but starting to become rugby, starting to get in there. Well, I think if we were to look at the amount of times we've said the word rugby versus other sports we've talked about this year, I think rugby by far the second most brought up sport besides football on the shows this year, and for good reason. For good reason, of course.
Absolutely, yeah, and no question about it, man. We know we got a rugby star here on the Chiefs with this whole pathway to the NFL. Which I didn't quite know who was behind all of this, but our guy that used to be with the Kansas City Chiefs, Lamont Winston, is a guy that kind of coordinates everything. And so I just want to give a shout out to him for helping with this whole pathway system. Lamont was a guy that took care of us. He was like our guy that took care of collateral damage. He was the player, personnel guy that everybody went to just to get everything, in order. And so just want to give a hat out to him, a shout. Just to commend him for the work he's been doing. But we want to talk about Sam Enari, okay, the head coach for the University of Kentucky. Young guy, grew up in Bloomington, Indiana. So if you got any Hoosiers out there, y'all got to say welcome, okay? And we'll talk about it. We'll ask him a little bit about, his career and whatnot, and we'll jump right into it, man. We'll jump right into it. So without further ado.
Let's do it. Without further ado, we're bringing on our guest of the night. And Coach Sam Enari, University of Kentucky head rugby coach, coming on here. Let's give him a Chief Concerns round of applause here, everybody. What's going on, Coach?
Good evening. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you, buddy.
Yeah, man. Welcome, Sam. Coach, appreciate you so much, man. I know you're a very busy guy. You've been traveling. I know you just got back from New Zealand. You was in Mexico a little bit before that. And I told you, I said, man, look, I don't care where you go in the world. When you get back, please give me a call because I want to get you on here to talk to a national championship coach about rugby championship, man. If you could, just kind of give us an introduction of who you are, tell us a little bit about the program yourself, whatever you feel that everybody needs to know, man. We want to know about Sam, okay? So help us out, brother. Talk to us.
I hope to do the family proud on this one.
Okay.
So I'm from Bloomington, Indiana, like you said. Went to IU. I now wear Kentucky blue. I wear it very proudly. Sorry, my Hoosier brothers, but I wear the Kentucky blue proudly at this point. From a rugby standpoint, I was lucky that I grew up in a rugby family. I'm half Samoan and very proud of that. And was introduced to it. Very, very early on, much earlier than most young men my age. Played at IU. From there, played in Australia and New Zealand. I was actually a school teacher before this, and so it naturally lent itself to coaching. And like most coaches in this country and most coaches in the world, it was you did it out of love for the sport. You did it out of passion, coaching youth, coaching, volunteering for college, just volunteering all that you can. And then in the last couple of years, I got a shot as an assistant coach at a small college in Massachusetts called American International College. And then from there, I was able to leverage that into being the head coach here down in Lexington at University of Kentucky.
Good. Man, so you've had a very extensive resume, been a few places, done a few things. Tell us a little bit, man, about this whole national championship. We see the picture behind you, man. First off, congratulations for that. Yeah, congratulations, man. So
this is my second. So last fall was the second year of the program, and so we had managed to scrape in our division #1 in the country in my first year. And so we knew we were going to have a good shot at it last year, and we're hoping to have a good shot at it again. This is upcoming season. Like with all championships, it takes the right people, the right timing, and a little bit of luck to get you all the way there. Injuries, we were relatively injury free. The guys were unbelievably committed to the program, to the practice, and to their schoolwork. I mean, even with all of that, we ended up, not only 4 All-Americans on the team, we had 5 academic All-Americans with the average GPA of the club of like 3.5, 3.4, 3.5. So guys are getting it done on and off, and that's across 60 guys in the program.
Wow, it's good. Congratulations for that. I can appreciate that so much because as being a college coach in football, getting guys, their diploma and getting them in class and them, basically, you're getting loyal to the program, but also too, you're being committed. And so I appreciate that you saying those things. But what you just said, man, is really a blueprint for winning the championship, right? A little bit of luck and not getting hurt. Okay. You have some good guys that really hold on to understanding what this thing is all about. And it seems like, they have fun. You're kind of a young guy, so I know you have a lot of energy you got to bring to the table with these guys, man. So tell me a little bit about what does it take? Okay. What does it take to play rugby? All right.
I'll say this. I got a young face. I got old knees and shoulders at this point. Right. So that's kind of is what it is. So to play rugby, at the higher end of the college level, one, like the #1 way to prevent injury is be stronger, right? Be strong and fit. So that means we're in the weight room. They're on the true form treadmills, getting the sprints in. They're doing the full gamut of off-season training. To the day, knowing what they're supposed to be doing. From Memorial Day all the way up to preseason. Then on top of that, eating right, sleeping right, just doing the right things. All things that every athlete has probably heard from their parent, probably heard from their high school coach. But everything that young people have heard is true, right? You got to take care of you first. You can't get it done for your teammates. You can't get it done on the field unless you take care of what you got to take care of off field. That means, family, for these young guys, if they're dating someone and it's not a total disaster that it can be in college, right? All those things, if all those things line up, you got to show up and train hard for yourself, train hard for your teammates. And when you're doing that, winning tends to take care of itself.
Okay.
I mean, being big and strong, like, being big, strong, and fast, athletic also always helps, and we want that. But to win, to really win, it's a mental battle more than anything else.
No question about it. I think anytime, man, you're doing a physical sport, people just kind of take away from the mentality it takes, to will yourself and your body not to be hurt or to continue to play through pain. Obviously, we should say all the time, are you injured or are you hurt? Which one is it? It's just, injury is a little bit different. Okay. If you can't go, that's one thing. If you just have a little bit of pain, little discomfort, okay, you know what? Throw some dirt on it, get back in there. Right. I think one of the things that what I love about rugby and everybody sees is, we talk about the physical prowess, right, that it takes to play this game. And so this conversation we're going to have tonight is getting into the crossover of what rugby and football, how they're alike, how they're different. And obviously, I don't know if you know this or not, but we got a pretty well-known rugby player that signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm sure you might have heard about it. You know who the guy is? You know who he?
Well-known name in the rugby world.
Okay. Well, I've heard that they talk about how good he is, how great he was in rugby, and him making his transition now from rugby into football. Okay, and not just rugby into football. We're talking about rugby into the NFL football, right? Totally different thing. Okay, it's not college football. This is NFL. So, what do you think about that?
Well, you bring up Louis Rees-Zammit, right? Do we know who he is in the rugby world? When I say he's well known, what I mean is, for his country, he was one of the poster boys for his country's national team. He was one of the poster boys for all of European rugby. Their professional leagues that lead into the national teams. And he was a poster boy for a team called the British and Irish Lions, which in the rugby world is a huge deal. Essentially, you take the island of Great Britain, Wales, England, Scotland, and then you also bring in Ireland into that, and they make the best of the best team, and they bring that together every 4 years and go play and go on a tour and play and show and try to show people what's up, right?
Really?
So when I say he was poster boy, I literally mean on the poster, right? And then literally after the World Cup, he goes, you know what? I've reached the heights that I can in rugby because there's not much more that you can get besides winning a World Cup. Mm-hmm. Young guy jumps in and announces, hey, I want to go try to make it in the NFL, which is no easy task, right? Switching sports, going from the best at one sport to competing against other people who are the best at their sport. There's a little bit of ego that comes with that, but then there's also a lot of hard work. You better be able to back it up. So he's definitely known, and there's excitement around that in the rugby community. There have been a couple other people that have caused that sort of excitement going the other way. NFL to rugby, Nate Ebner back in the day for the Patriots. He played football and rugby at Ohio State, played for the Patriots, and then represented USA at the Olympics. That caused some stir. But LRZ, in terms of worldwide notice, that brings it a whole different level of at least eyes to initially to NFL, and then he makes the roster. Those eyes are going to stick around, and it's going to sell a lot of jerseys in Wales. We'll say that. Wow.
Okay. So I think in our lack of knowledge, especially me, okay, because I'm trying to learn everything about this. Like I didn't quite know how big he was as far as the stage in itself. And you're painting a very good picture of like what that really means. Like being the face. Newt Rockney says he's a handsome guy. He's a handsome guy, man. He's got a million.
Looking at that.
Yeah,
we call him marketable, right?
Yeah. He's got $1 million smile, man. He looks like a guy right out of Hollywood. Okay, and the thing is, because you said he has a confidence, right, or ego, whatever you want to look at it. I think sometimes confidence also too in your ability to try something new, and that's one thing I always looked at him of just taking this chance, right, from being a star at this and saying you could fail at that, but why not try it? What's there to lose? Why not go out here and give your best and see if you can actually make it? See if you can be on the world stage with these guys. So,
absolutely, right? So he was 22 when he stepped away from rugby. He became a professional athlete at 17. And then and then became the face by 22. He's an age of a college graduate, kid coming out of college right now.
Okay.
And so if it doesn't work out in the NFL, it's not like his rugby acumen is going to go away, right? He might be a little rusty, but he'll be able to step back in with some new skill sets that he's picked up from American football.
Okay.
Ideally, I think in his mind, he wants to, make the big bucks in the NFL and have that notoriety and all of that. And who wouldn't, right? Who doesn't want that? But if for some reason it doesn't work out, being a professional rugby player is not a bad backup.
So let me ask you that real quick. Okay, what is the pay range for a guy that plays on that level for what he's doing in rugby?
Nowhere near American sports. I'll say that. Like, he will live extremely comfortably, top 1%, right?
Yeah.
But maybe top 2, 1%. But it's not anywhere in the realm. I mean, not anywhere in the realm. We could, Mahomes would be able to bet him his entire salary and be okay, right? Like, it's that big of a difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I always wondered that because we was talking about, I know, making this jump. Obviously, the monetary gain that you get from it, but as you're saying, rugby sales, right? And Newt's talking about selling jerseys. I don't know how that works as far as the commission, him getting the jersey sales, how big it is, and how much money he's actually getting from endorsements. Is there is this a big space as far as rugby and endorsements and stuff?
In terms of the way it's set up mostly around the world, I can't speak for every single team, obviously, but a lot of national governing bodies own the teams, right? So let's say NBA, it's an association of teams. Owners have to, they have to meet certain requirements for the teams to be a part of that association. The way rugby works in a lot of places is, let's say, New Zealand, right? New Zealand, one of the best international rugby teams in the world, rugby countries in the world. They have their own professional league produced at the same, in terms of production level of entertainment, same level as NFL, things like that. But they own all of the teams, right? And then they distribute the talent across it and distribute the money across it. Top guys are going to get more money than others, more money than the 18-year-old who's starting. But it's a more even spread now. Obviously, smaller populations in a lot of these countries, so there's simply not as many people to put money in the pot. The only place that would be anywhere close to comparable would be someplace like Japan, where their professional teams are owned by major corporations. Like Toyota owns a team, essentially infinite money. They can go out and pay guys like Louis Rees-Zammit to come be on their team for a couple of years, paying them $1 million a game, stuff like that.
Okay. Go ahead, Marcus. I'm just so intrigued, man. I'm gonna ask you a ton of questions. I hope you don't mind, man.
I cleared my night to talk to you.
Okay.
I'm ready.
All right. Cool. All right.
Well, the one question that before we came on, I asked you just to put in perspective for a lot of our Chief fans and American listeners who aren't really familiar with LRZ from coming over. Kind of compare him to what he was in rugby. Kind of compare him to that kind of guy. We talked about Devin Hester and that kind of thing, but just kind of lay that on for us, his player comp.
I'm gonna put this disclaimer out here right now. The names I'm gonna name, I'm not saying LRZ is gonna be those guys. I'm not saying that he's gonna reach those heights, but and purely from a number standpoint, height, weight, 40 time, right? So Devin Hester, I think when he entered the league was 5'11", 190, ran a 4.41 40, I believe. Mm-hmm. Adrian Peterson, 6'1", 6'2", 220-ish pounds, ran about the same, a 4.40 40 time. LRZ, without all the explosive training that high-level football athletes get in this country, is 6'2", 210 pounds, runs a 4.44 40. Right, so give him a year of really specific training in those positions. He's going to shave those 400ths of a second off, and he's going to have that size plus some very specific skill sets that come from being on the rugby pitch, right? And so athletically, those are those are some comps. I'm not saying he's going to be Devin Hester. I'm not saying he's going to be Adrian Peterson, because that's too much to put on a young man to reach those greatnesses. But he's in that range in terms of athleticism, to put it in the perspective for for all the viewers tonight, right? Now, when it comes to on the football field positionally, he's gonna have to find his way. There are a couple of things that he's just not going to be used to, that I'm sure we'll get into later on the podcast. We've seen in the clips of blocking is not just a foreign concept to him; it's a completely new concept, right? Route selections, things like that. You can watch it all your entire life, but until you try and do it, it's going to be hard to understand how hard something is how hard those skill sets are until you do it yourself. And as Jason, as you said earlier, he's not just trying to do it, college or rec league. He's trying to do it against the best in the world.
Right. I think that was kind of like one of my I wouldn't say pushbacks, but I wanted people to quite understand exactly the skill set that you actually have to play in the NFL. And guys that have been playing all their lives that still don't make it, that have that explosiveness and the physicality and whatnot, and it's still a hard task to do. You almost liken it to winning the lottery, making it to the NFL. I mean, that's how hard it is. And so sometimes when we had this conversation a couple of months ago when they were talking about NBA players playing in the NFL, I'm just like, it's not that easy of a transition. It's just, look, there's certain things they can do, right? And like LRZ, and I want you to kind of go into, like you said, his skill set that makes him ready for the NFL. What in particular is his superpower, right? That you say, well, look, he's going to be very good at this as opposed to that. And you said like the blocking is a whole new concept to him, okay? And we've seen that when he was going up one-on-ones against linebackers. Like he's never done it before. And so it's one thing to do it without pads on. It's like you said, it's one thing to watch it on video. But until you actually get into the ring, until you actually get in there and feel the physicality, feel the speed of it, how to get your head up and whatnot, it is going to be a long learning process, okay? And that's not taking anything away from LRZ. It's going to be hard for a guy that's been playing for a long time. If you played at UCLA or USC or Michigan as a running back, it's still tough. And so that was one of my cases. But go ahead and tell me a little bit about like you were talking about some of his skill set. That is
So in rugby, his position, his specialist position in rugby, I would not say is someone who's in a lot of confrontation, right? There, he does have to pass, he does have to tackle, he does have to run, but he's not in the trenches, right? He's not in the trenches with the big men. His skill set in the rugby field. I'm starting here for rugby to paint the picture, right? As he is the finisher, right? He is there to finish, whether it's from 5 meters out or 100 meters out. He has the size to run over top somebody, the speed to run away from somebody. So that is his skill set, and a lot of his team's game plan is to get him the ball in one-on-one scenarios in space, right? So those are some things that that he will excel. Other things that are going to translate is he might not have, as all professional athletes have good footwork, right? Like that's as a caveat, but rugby footwork is different than football footwork. Football footwork, you're going to have a lot of start, stop, start again, really explosive, and you have to do it. Whereas rugby, it's a lot of changing direction at max velocity, right? So it's because everything in rugby starts at a rolling start. You want every ball out in front so you can run onto it. Because you don't have to wait for someone to block for you or anything like that. So a couple of those that subtle difference. Give him a couple of months, he'll get there. He's a professional, but that subtle difference is going to take a little bit to catch up. So when you start to think about what his superpowers are, it's going to be field vision under pressure, guys coming at him. That's what he's very much used to. In particular, they're having a running back kick, a punt and kickoff returner, because those are the areas of the game that are not most similar. That's the wrong words. The least foreign to him, right? Because there are different things in football compared to rugby, but with those things, he sees who's coming at him from the get-go, right? In rugby, all defense, the best way to think about it is a kickoff defense. You have your lane, you stop anybody who comes into your lane. Sometimes you double tackle somebody, but you have your lane. That's all rugby defense is. Obviously, there are different schemes. That's a big simplification, but basic setup: have your lane, go forward, take up space, make the big tackle. So from running back and kick returner, at the start of the play, running back, all the defenses in front of him. Yes, there will be schemes I'm sure, to put him to space or put him through a hole. He'll be able to read those much more naturally than say being a wide receiver coming across the middle, and then the poor soul has a free safety or middle linebacker coming across, spearing on the line side. Right, that's a completely different skill set and awareness that very few people want in this world. I'm not even sure professional wide receivers. Not many of them want to take that ball across the center, especially if it's a pass on the back shoulder or up top. But speed, vision, and being able to change that direction, at top velocity are things that he'll be able to do day one on any field in any sport, because that's what he's been drilled to do since he was a child.
We've all seen, as far as the blocking is one aspect of it, but as far as another thing that he's even said specifically is his pad level running too high, and that's something that he's got to kind of adjust. And that's something that in rugby there's none of this running high or running low that really doesn't matter in rugby.
It matters. It's more. It comes back to that field awareness in terms of it's way more congested on the rugby field. So. On a football field. So a rugby field is significantly bigger. It's noticeably bigger than a football field. So it's 100 meters by 70 meters, which I think is almost 20-25% bigger than a football field. It's bigger than the rugby field is bigger than a soccer field. So there's more space. So more room to maneuver. So it's more congested on a football field. And two, since all the defense is almost always directly in front of you, you can time when you lower your body a little bit better. Whereas if you're trying to, run down the gut or run through a seam in the line, bodies are all around you. You kind of got to be low from the get-go. And so again, that's timing thing. He's gonna have to really sort of think about adjusting his steps before going into contact. Just instead of going in looking for the seam, go in expecting contact and bounce to the seam so that you can really open up. So it's, can he read the hole? Yes. Pad height is going to be a little bit hard for him because the timing of the contact. It's not just the guy coming to plug the hole, the linebacker. He's got to look out for the big paws of 300-pound linemen reaching out for him all the time. His own teammates being pushed into him, and so it's a different mindset when it comes to spacing. It would be the best way I could put it.
Okay, so I'm looking at it. So from meters, I went from so they said 109 yards in length, and in between it's like 74 yards, 74 to 76 yards. For football, it's 100 by 53 and a third. Okay, is what you're looking at for football wise, and I think that's where some of the challenges are. And I agree with you that what he does naturally is, like you said, it's a pitch. In essence, what you're saying is it's all pitching in rugby for him. That's what he's been doing well, right? And it's like as soon as you get the ball, you got to hit the hole. My nephew who was on here, he's a running back. And the guys that I know that play running back before, in the NFL, the hole breathes, okay? And so when I say the hole breathes, there's a rhythm to like how the holes open up. So when the blocking scheme looks like when you draw it up on paper, it's like, oh, okay, you just run here to the A or B gap or the 3, and then it's going to be fine. But like you said, with the blocking scheme, how bodies move, the hole may actually jump over a couple of gaps, right? And this is something, like you said, the vision that he has to have. And like you said, he has the speed, he has vision, but football vision is a whole different thing, okay? Because sometimes with the zone scheme, what we run in Kansas City, you got to look for the cutback. Sometimes the cutback's got to be open. So even if you're trying to run to space, that space might close up real fast because these guys close in, linebackers, safeties, when they come down in the hole, they may run a stunt with the inside guy that might close up that hole. I love what you said, though, is if you come in expecting contact but run with some power, I think you'll be fine. And I watched this video on John Riggins, okay? John Riggins was a bigger guy, okay? Tall guy from Kansas, 230-something pounds. But the way he was able to run, he ran with a whole lot of power. But one thing he said that stood out more than anything else as a running back, the quality you have to have is your eyes. It's eyes and anticipation, okay? It's anticipating what guys are going to be, right? So even in the essence of the blocking scheme, you still got to have a knack and innate ability to find everybody around you. It's a spatial awareness, right? If you will, a spatial awareness. Where in rugby, where you do have a little bit more space, you know, you can kind of run to open grass, and you kind of see that.
Yeah. I think it's a fundamental difference on how holes are created in the two sports, right? So
there you go. Okay.
So football, you have blocking schemes. You literally create the holes with force. And you know, sometimes they collapse and you get some spectacular plays. You know, reverse them back around. Awesome. You know, those are always spectacular. But I bet from a coaching perspective, someone's pissed on the coach if that happens, on the coaching staff if that happens, right? You know, if you're supposed to run away, running back has to reverse field unexpectedly, something went wrong that you're gonna have to work on. But you're trying in football to create those seams and small holes, you know, instantly go through with force. Rugby, you create holes by misdirection. Right, and there's always that opportunity for the extra pass. Right, you hear that a lot if you start to watch rugby. You'll hear that a lot. Make the extra pass, that extra pitch, which is gonna give somebody, you know, caution before coming in with an immense the same velocity that an NFL linebacker or any defender is gonna come in with, because that, you know, you come with velocity, yeah, you might kill me, but that ball's away already, and my teammates running off my hip, ready to go. So that's one thing, and then everything in rugby is one-on-one, right? There are 15 guys on the field. Everybody's expected to make that tackle. Everybody's expected to be able to run. So, you know, it's not, you know, you say you're running through traffic, but really it's a one-on-one tackle almost every single time in rugby, or at least the initial contact is one-on-one. And in football, you tuck that ball and you go. It could be 1-on-4, and you just hope that you can bounce that first person into the next two and then run away from them, right? Or the blocking scheme goes, you know, exactly the plan. You know, and you get, you know, an Adrian Peterson type run from back in the day where everything just opened up for him and he gets out and runs, looks and was spectacular. So it's just a fundamental difference on how those holes are being. So that mindset, I think, for LRZ is he's waiting for the bodies to move before he makes his run, instead of just being up on the person who's going to move the body for him so he can go immediately through. I think I said that correctly, but he's waiting for the hole to present itself instead of being right on the person who's going to create the hole for him so he can step through and explode through the instant that it's opening, not after it's open, but the instant that it's opening.
Yeah. We always tell running backs, get to the second level, and then it's one-on-one. So it's really the challenge goes into like understand the blocking schemes, getting open, seeing a hole, getting through it, and then you have the one-on-one that you're talking about in rugby, right? So it's like all you have to do is make one guy miss. You hear it all the time in running back rooms. I used to hear it all the time in the blocking scheme when I'm blocking for running backs is let me get my man, but also too, sometimes, like you said, the scheme doesn't work out like that. And coach is yelling at guys. I'm just like, well, look, we got to make adjustments on our blocking as well, because the defense is scheming what you're doing offensively too, right? If we know what a guy's skill set is, if I know that LRZ is a guy that is good in the pitch, then my job as a defensive coordinator is stop what he does well, right? Stop what he does well. Get out there, spill to the outside, make him run back inside, whatever it is, make him change direction so he's not effective, right? And that's just how you scheme guys on that. My thing is, okay, and I know, Marcus, I'm going to let you jump back in this, but as a special teams coach, go back to this, what you were talking about. His ability to go down and see spaces. And I put this, I retweeted this video. I don't know if, Marcus, you have that or not, about covering a punt, okay? And he came down to one of our fastest guys on the team, McCole Hardman, who was just a speedster. He's an absolute jet, road runner. And LRZ, when they kicked the ball, they kicked it directionally to the left, okay? He goes down to the left as he was a personal protector. That's what he was doing. He's personal protector, blocks, then goes down, okay? He's almost like the last line of defense before you get to the punter. He changes direction, okay? And you'll see it here. He's changing direction. And the way he comes back on the screen shows his speed. And when I'm telling you, as a special teams coach, when this jumped out at me, I'm like, whoa. Like when he starts, okay, go back to it, Marcus. Can you make that bigger? So you see him start over here to the left, Coach, right? You see him, he's number 9. Starts to the left, right? He's almost down in the corner. It's 20 yards away from McCole Hardman. Now we're setting up a block, and this is blocking I see right here for the return is a return left. So McCole Hardman's coming here. LRZ has already tracked him down from the other side. This is, look, I know he's fast, but this is something else that's exceptional, really. I mean, he sees the hole where Hardman's going to be. He's anticipating making his tackle.
So that, I mean, if I'm being honest, that anticipation at the level that he was playing at, is what is expected, right? Tracking somebody across in traffic to force them in the direction. So since everything is a one-on-one tackle in rugby, and there's not blocking, right?
Yes.
We talk a lot about shepherding or forcing someone to go where you want them to go, right? He's probably, well, not probably. I watched videos of LRZ. He's right side dominant, so that means his right shoulder and his right leg, his right arm are going to be stronger. When he makes tackles, he's going to prefer to tackle on his right shoulder, right? So fast guy comes across. He's very LRZ from a defensive standpoint. Rugby is going to be very used to seeing where they're coming and going to where that space is, because if he were to have the ball in his hand, that's the space that he would run to. This guy's probably faster over 40 or 100 because he looks really, really fast.
Yeah.
But angles and spatial IQ can win you the day in a broken field play like a kickoff return.
Coach, this is what we talk about, filtering through the trash, okay? On football terms. And that's why I would always tell guys, you got to filter through the trash to make a tackle. And so this is a huge weapon to stop a guy like this, McCole Hardman. And he sees it. Like that spatial awareness, like you said, tracking him down. Man, he's, oh my gosh. Like this is like when I'm telling you, a guy that is perfect, who can make a Pro Bowl, is guys that did things like this. Okay, we had a guy named Gary Steels on our team at the time who would go down and make tackles. But this of, like you said, the anticipation of where he's going to be, because he sees it in his head, like this is where he's thinking about going. LRZ sees it, man. He could deplete McCole Hardman on this, right? It's not a live. They're just tagging off right here. And he just basically loads, like, I tagged off. Look, he just tags him off. He slows down. Man, I'm telling you, Coach, this right here to me I was like, whoa. And I could not believe, look where he's at. Like he's off the screen. And immediately he just shows up. Look at that. That's when I go ahead.
Where he would struggle in this scenario would be, okay, he does that here. People see it. Maybe if he makes the roster or in a preseason game, he does it once or twice in a preseason game. Somebody's coming back to kill him, that now people are looking to block him, which is just a different aspect that he's gonna have to get used to. I'm sure he's getting it at camp. But just like you said, these guys are the best in the world. Stop somebody, stop what they're good at. Right now, where it gets fun, and from a rugby standpoint, like the dream of probably every rugby coach ever is like putting some of those rugby specific skill sets, into football. So if you were to flip the scenario and put LRZ and what's the returner's name again? I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with the roster. Right now?
That's McCall Hardman.
So Hartman. So put LRZ catching that ball instead of sending Hartman to come back and block for him. They both run left. With him. LRZ goes to the same hole Hartman does, and then Hartman just works to the outside, and then there's a pitch. That's a very basic 2-on-1 pass in a rugby sense, where defense is collapsing in on you. There's space outside. That pitch will be on the money from 15 yards away at pace if there's somebody there to receive it. Like that's
wow.
The rugby mindset on kickoffs, because it's the thing that is most similar to rugby of broken play. And just exciting things can happen there.
So this is what I'm gonna say about this, and somebody made a point about it. Forget like running back, like that's something he'll develop. Okay, we're gonna give him time to develop that skill set. This right here, he can get a roster spot by doing something as great as this alone. Okay, because you always need a guy like this. And I'm going to tell you why, Coach. This play, he put him at personal protector, so you don't actually have a guy that's going to block him. That's the reason Toad put him back there, a personal protector. Because he could, the personal protector could kind of run freely to where he's going to be, right? And so you see where the guys that's on the line of scrimmage, you usually have a body on the body. And guys, I know the blocking scheme is you stay with your man the entire way. Okay, or you set him up to say, hey, we're going to kick it to the left, but we're going to return right. So it is that kind of come block back. But the personal protector, what he's playing right here on this, is a free guy. Okay, he's a free hitter, right? Which is that'd be the best place for him to be. Either that or gunner. Somebody said it on here too, gunner, right? Because he could be a headhunter. With his speed on the outside and his power, he could go down and just make this tackle off either the fair catch or, off the initial punt, be the first one down there to go make this play. That's value right there. That right there is value, okay? So I know we're talking about him being, running back, and that's good. We could put him back there. He may be the fourth guy, right? If something happens, Pacheco, CH goes out, then okay, he comes in. But on special teams, you need a special guy to play this team right here. It's a cornerstone of what you do. There's three phases to the game of football: offense, defense, and special teams. And every single three of those are so important to what you do to win. LRZ can be a star in special teams, no doubt about it. So, but Coach, I like your perspective. I see how you're looking at this too. But I'm starting to see, like you said, kind of the spatial awareness, because I didn't really think when you have him at personal protector, let him be the free hitter and just let him go play, filter through the garbage and let him go hit. So I like
that's
that.
something he's done since he was probably like 8 years old when he started playing rugby. It's just one of those things where in the positions that he plays, is the expectation for the position that he played in rugby, right? So this kind of stuff is very, very natural to him. Being that last defender, not letting anybody get to the outside, reading that space and closing down in a broken play scenario like a kickoff is.
Okay, so I'm hearing right here, okay, in the chat, people are saying he can't block.
Yes.
He said he can't block. He said, man, look, will he be compromised, as far as a blocker? Because in special teams, he'll have to be a blocker, on the receiving end, if he's not the guy that's receiving the football. If he's not the returner, he'll have to be a blocker. And really, I think if you just stay in the guy's hip, Because sometimes you got guys out there who are DBs. They don't know how to block. I'm sorry. Everybody's not a blocker. They just not, okay? That's football. We know DBs don't do that, okay? They're pretty boys. They got the towel all the way down to their ankles. They not try to hit anybody. Sometimes just getting in the guy's way, I think, is gonna be something good. So go ahead. What do you think about the blocking aspect?
I think in the pocket he's gonna struggle where someone's coming downhill at him, hard through the line. He's not quite sure what's coming because it's gonna take him some time to be able to read defensive schemes coming. Right? You have to protect the edge, you have to protect down the middle, whatever the scheme may be. He's gonna struggle there. Not saying he's not strong enough to do it, but I think I think there'll be a lot of penalties early on for holding just because he's not used to the positioning, right?
Yes.
He's big and strong. There's no question about that. It's just a matter of stepping into the position that he needs to be a little late because he's still learning it. Now in the open field, like you said, he's big enough just to run on the guy's hip. Someone comes running at you, well, just tackle that guy first before he tackles your guy, right? It's lower your head and go. I'm no football expert at all, like not even close. Not, but it's just I feel like they're two different skill sets of blocking. One is going to be very technical with everything collapsing in around you. One is going to be, okay, let's get up in the open field. That guy's going to attack you. I'm going to go murder that guy. Here we go. Follow me. It's two different mentalities surrounding it. Will he get there? Yeah. Like I've said it a couple times, he's a professional. He's been a professional for a long time. That's probably one of the biggest advantages that he has over other rookies coming in, is he knows what it means to be a professional. He knows what it means to be in front of the camera. He knows what it means to be, to represent your ball club, with pride, and the media training and things like that. Guys still slip up from time to time. He's a young guy, but he has all of that. The lights are not going to be too bright. I mean, we're talking, he played, in the World Cup. It's the third or fourth most watched sporting event in the world, right? Every 4 years, it happens. It's a huge event. And he performs under those lights all the time. So the lights aren't going to be too bright. I think it's literally just he has to be the professional that he is and really study on the playbook and drill the fundamentals in his free time.
Go ahead, Marcus.
No, I had a question broadly. I mean, we were going to talk. I was going to bring up special teams, but you brought up the play, JD, so we were able to talk.
Okay.
So that's good stuff. More broadly, I know on our channel, certainly we've seen the crossover of all these Welsh fans, rugby fans in general, who have taken a big interest in the Chiefs and American football as a whole, and just trying to learn about it. And JD and I, on the other hand, we've tried to learn. We have a rugby coach on our show right now. We're trying to learn a little bit more about rugby. And I mean, I know when the Olympics had they had rugby sevens on, like the first opening weekend of the Olympics, I watched.
Shout out Lady Eagles.
Yeah, right. There you go. U.S. baby.
Bronze medal.
And like we've already seen the kind of interest that the LRZ has made an impact on coming to the NFL, where it's drum up an interest from rugby fans coming to watch the NFL. Do you think, as a rugby coach for the University of Kentucky, do you think that this could be, I mean, if he does make the 53-man roster, even making the practice squad, I think that'd be a big deal. Do you see that as something that could kind of drum up more interest in rugby in the States?
Double-edged sword, right? So there's going to be the word rugby is going to, get more into just everyday language of sports fans, which inevitably, people are going to be interested. The word scrum has been in the football lexicon for a little while. It has nothing, as a definition, sure, but as in terms of like what a rugby scrum is, there's, it's not the same, but that word is there. Just rugby being mentioned, like I said, with the USA women's getting bronze at the Olympics, LRZ, if he's able to make the squad, that's certainly gonna drum up interest. But just by simple fact, where'd this guy come from? He's a funny talker. He's from rugby. They're gonna look him up, see that he was the man. He was the man in rugby, right? And so they might see that as a pathway to honing skills from someone who used to coach high school rugby, right? Back in the day, I'm not saying it's the case now, but back in the day, Football coaches were very protective of their football guys, even dudes that were third, fourth, fifth on the depth chart, and probably didn't play a down, maybe one down on senior night for their football program, right? I'm not asking. The high school coaches are not asking for the 3, 4, 5-star, recruits that that are on these that are on these football teams. But you might be able to develop some skill sets, some fitness, some dynamic, some being more dynamic. Lower on the depth chart, especially when they're younger, coming back, because then football's in the fall, rugby's in the spring for high school, at the high school level. So then they get to come back, and they've been playing a contact sport in the off season. Their cardio is better, their fitness is better, their confidence is up because they get to run the ball, they get to tackle, they get to do everything. And so maybe some guy says they were this when they came out, freshman year, played rugby, developed a new skill set. Maybe let's say it's a big, tall wide receiver, has bricks for hands as a freshman in high school. I'm sure we can all think of a few guys on high school football teams who had that. All of a sudden they get a tackle, they get a run in rugby, things like that. Find out that they absolutely love the physicality, being down the trenches. Maybe they move to defense, safety, DB, linebacker as they grow, mature in their bodies, right? It's a good way to expand the skill set. I mean, all the studies I'm sure that we see are, isolating yourself to one sport too early can be a detriment.
Absolutely.
So if you can open it up, some guys are track guys, awesome. Some guys are basketball guys. Some guys are wrestlers. I'll say wrestlers is a complete different mindset. Those are hard dudes. If you wrestle through high school and college, you are a different type of human being. But you do all those sports, they all work out. All work out, and then you pick the sport you love or the sport you're best at to really, really go after. At worst, for a high school coach, the kid's going to come back fit, shoulders ready to go, as opposed to sitting on the couch playing Fortnite or whatever game youths are playing these days. It is what it is. It's you want them active, and then it gets more higher caliber athletes into rugby. Is rugby going to get the 5-star recruits? No, and they shouldn't. If you're excellent at something that you do, you should probably pursue that.
Right.
But you could be average at football, but because rugby's a more fluid sport with less specialization, you could be outstanding at rugby and find your calling there.
You know what? I love that question and the answer, because I've been a big supporter, big proponent on guys playing different sports. We know scientifically that when you just deal with one sport, you have a higher percentage of being hurt. Tearing something obviously is a little bit more pressure on your tendons and your ligaments. So I'm all for it. If a guy came out and said, "Hey, coach, can we get some guys to play rugby? Would they be?" I would be all for it. I'm like, absolutely, Coach Enari, no doubt about it. And so I've always told my linemen when I coach my linemen, I said, I want you to go during this offseason. I want you to just lift weights, go wrestle, learn how body control, learn leverage. I want you to learn all those different things. And then also, too, learn being one-on-one with somebody. You ain't got the whole team around you. Learn how to build your confidence in winning. And so that would do wonders for my linemen, just going there playing a different sport. Rugby could be that crossover doing the exact same thing, like you said. And so,
Belita, right?
Say it again.
On the Eagles, right? I think so. The Eagles on Belita, who he played rugby all of high school.
Yeah, right.
And then, he had some physical gifts that allowed him to play D1 football and NFL football. You should probably do that, right? It's good for your life. It's good for your life. Make the money, do that. But do you think he has the footwork, the mobility without the other sport? Maybe yes, maybe no. But I'm gonna be biased towards rugby and say no, you wouldn't without rugby.
So I guess they just got a guy that played for the Buffalo Bills. It's a rugby guy that they
English dude, right?
Yes,
English
correct.
Dude.
As a tackle,
Christian Wade.
Thank you.
Okay.
Christian.
Yeah, I mean, he's a big guy, man. He's 6'7", 300 pounds. I'm like, dude, this guy could play either side of the ball.
and he's like 300 pounds lean, right? Like he's
yes,
he's
yeah,
he's a monster. He came over to rugby a little bit older in his life than a few more miles on his knees than LRZ did. I'm pretty sure. You can fact check me on that. But he's there. He's there. He's doing it. I'm pretty sure there's like a little documentary about him. But physical size is just a matter of a life. Can his athleticism overtake a lifetime of reps that some of these guys have? And that's going to be true for anybody crossing over.
Right. I know, man. He's
two different people. So there's two different rugby players who play for the Bills. Christian Wade used to play for them, and the guy you're talking about that you just mentioned, JD, was Travis Clayton.
Travis Clayton. Yeah, the offensive tackle. Yeah, big dude, like 6'7", 300 pounds, lean guy. Yep. And when you see him, he ran like a 4.8, 40. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like a guy like that, I would put his hand in the dirt and make him like Chris Jones or defensive end. That's what I would do. Because all you had to do is just go get the football.
Go get the quarterback. Go get the ball.
Go get the quarterback. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all defensive guys do. You don't have to worry about the blocking scheme. Just go get the quarterback. Go get the guy with the football. That's it.
See ball, get ball.
Yeah, see ball, get ball. So, dude, man, I love this. I love the whole the concept of this crossover. And like Marcus was asking, where do you see this going? I know it's a great thing. And I know, like you said, you want to steal guys from different sports and like make it a thing. You don't want to lose your rugby guys. Everybody's trying to make it to the NFL or make the college, and like I'm trying to make a whole lot of money. Do you think? And I'm asking you this. First off, how many schools, the percentage of schools that play rugby in high school? I'm sure it's a low percentage, right? It may just be like a recreational sport, possibly, and that's how they do it.
It's in pockets of where it's serious and where it's more social.
Okay. Where's the higher percentage at?
So there's a really high percentage on the West Coast, up and down in particular Southern California, strong Polynesian population there, expat population there. Utah, they have a really strong high school rugby, and that's going to reach down over across to Colorado as well. Not quite as many teams, but there are a few there. Surprisingly, in the Midwest, mainly surrounding Chicago, Indianapolis, and Columbus and Cleveland, almost every high school has a team, or there's a city club that a couple city clubs that they can join in on. In the Northeast, those are the big pockets. Of course, there are some individual great teams out there for high school rugby. Tempe, Arizona, Charlotte Cardinals. Down in Florida, Tampa and Jacksonville. Right, they have teams there. Nashville, but in terms of pockets, we're looking at mainly Southern California. Up and down the coast of California, Utah. The major cities in the Midwest and the Northeast would be the main hotspots.
Okay. I see a lot of guys. I know when I was coaching, guys would go to lacrosse. They would play that. I think rugby would be a much better sport for them to do to kind of get that physicality what they got in football. But there's something, man, coach, you got to do. Listen, I know a lot of high schools here, the state of Kentucky. If you need my help to try to get out here and recruit some guys that play football, that want to play rugby, hey, man, let's do something. Collaborate. I'll make some phone calls.
So I cash in on every offer that's given to me. I'm looking to win, right? I'm looking to win. So that means we're getting guys from the sticks, and we're getting them boys from the sticks.
Yes, sir. Big, strong, fast guys that got the skill set that you were talking about. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of people here in Kentucky that can do that, and we love it.
So, before we go, Coach, it's been an amazing episode. Everyone in the chat is absolutely loving this, educating a lot of us fans in the Chiefs Kingdom about the game of rugby. So, we love that. But my question to you is, I know we talked a lot about LRZ. And I know you said that, it's going to take some more time than just a few months of just jumping right into the game of football, especially the NFL level. But do you think LRZ will make the team this year?
my heart says yes. We'll start there, right? My heart says yes, right? He is, you got to feel for a guy who's backing himself, a young guy, 20, 22, 23 years old, at the top of his craft, taking a risk and really putting himself out there. And, is, I can't say performing at the top, but he's hanging in there with the best in the world. So at the rest of their craft, right? So like from a pride standpoint, from somebody who loves the sport of rugby, man, I hope so. It'd be such a success story. Now from like a logical side, he obviously has some holes in his game for football, but that's not the whole package, right? Football is a business, NFL is a business, and he brings some other stuff to the table, right? In terms of the business side that the Chiefs you know might want to take from a entertainment value of new schemes that you could put out there with him that are going to be pretty specific to his skill set. So harking back to earlier in the episode when he said, your nephew commented on the play where he was slow to it. I did my homework. I watched that episode.
Okay.
I made sure I was ready for it. So he's slow to the hole, but there's also someone coming across and blocking that defensive end late, right, to open up that seam for him. The other way that you could do it, a fun scheme that would be viable probably all the time, but instead of that blocker coming through, letting LRZ take that hit, but I guarantee that pitch, that secondary pitch is going to happen. No problem, because that's muscle memory for him if you draw that up. Or something like, Travis Kelce, love it or hate it, likes to do the hook and ladder, whether it's called or not. Right? Sometimes he goes rogue and does it. So put LRZ on the outside, put Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, catches it, pitches to LRZ instead of him just turning up field, have a receiver streaking down the other side. I guarantee that he can put a spiral lateral on the money at pace 20 yards away. I guarantee it.
Wow.
I guarantee it. I know this because there are high school level rugby players who play football who can do that. Like no issue. Right?
20 yards.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
He is he's the guy, especially when you're running across the field and you have that momentum with you.
Yeah.
It's gonna go. It's gonna go. The best in the world. So his will float a little bit, but it'll be on the money. The best rugby passers in the world will do that on a laser, right? Just on a string. So it's just one of those things where, Andy Reid, creative coach, we've seen it with a lot of his other plays. If he wants LRZ on the team, he's going to be on the team, and there's going to be a couple specific things for him to do that are going to be effective once in a while, be really entertaining to watch. It will definitely make ESPN top 10 or maybe not top 10, but it's going to be stuff that's it's going to be eyes on the brand, which makes money, right?
Yeah, of course.
On top of everything else, right? There's in just Wales, not even Britain and England, but in Wales, there's 3.3 million people, and like half of them, like 1.5 million of those of that population are adult men who are more likely to buy NFL jerseys. So that's that's a lot of money that could just happen, right? Like Jeez. Branding, all that happens. So my heart says, from like an athlete perspective, I hope he makes it. I think probably some of the non-football things, or the non-football things that can translate into the business of football and on the field, might put him over the hump. And then on top of that, I think by all accounts, he's liked in the locker room. I said it 100 times already, but he's professional. He knows how to conduct himself. He's not trying to ruffle feathers. He's there to win on a professional level, and he's willing to do what it takes for that. So, I'm going to say, like, if Kelce and Mahomes are like, yeah, we want this guy in the locker room, they're like, he's got a pretty good shot at it. Those guys hold some weight within the organization. If Andy Reid says he wants him, he gets it. Or if they just do look at the numbers and be like, oh, there's a potential of whatever. NFL jersey is what, $60 to $100 depending on the person, times, let's say, I don't know, 500,000, a third of the adult male population in Wales. Like, all of that might play into him making the squad 53. Now he has to perform to keep the spot, but like initially, why not sell 100,000 jerseys?
Yeah. Now, hey, listen. I understand the NFL is a business, and I made this point, in the episode before, like as you saw, The Chiefs are about winning. Okay, they're going to sell a lot of jerseys anyway. But having this guy like LRZ to accentuate what you do would be masterful. And like you said, Andy's the most creative coach out here. You have a couple of packages where you bring in LRZ. And even if you use him as a decoy, right? Because they're like, hey, here he comes, here's a rugby guy. They're going to do the pitch or something, right? And you do something else. Or, you do the quick snap with him playing, like a quarterback sneak. Or you do the scrum, which is the most, the scrum that Philadelphia does is the most successful play that's been in the past 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
it's fun stuff like a roll-out punt. Like,
yes,
you haven't seen that. He can kick. He can kick about. It's not going to have the amplitude as a specialist punter, but he can put it in the air about 60 yards on the run. Right. So you have him roll out. You have him roll out. Give him the option to. Well, if they fall off you, take the 10 yards. Go because you're big and fast. If they go, okay, well, you've been kicking in traffic someone in your face since you were a little kid, right? It's just one of those things where you maximize the skill set that you have. So if the Chiefs want them, I'm sure they will maximize the skill set.
Man, there's so many possibilities. At first, because obviously we're trying to put him at running back. It's like where is he at running back skill? Is he going to really make it? But when I start seeing a little bit more special teams wise, it makes a lot more sense of seeing the pathway, if you will, the pathway of him actually making the 53-man roster. Because you do have a guy who can come down and make tackles. You have a guy that understands open fields, how to catch pitches. You could do a lot of different things as far as just if you wanted to creatively do some things. Throwing the ball 20 yards on that man, that would be exceptional. He's able to do something like that. I guarantee they're creating all these different things and the possibilities of it. But I do believe now, just watching him, just in special teams, I think he has a really good shot at making a 53. I really do.
With the new kickoff rules, Mike Brennan asked, right? I'm looking at you guys' chat too.
Yeah.
Kickoff rules. You have to announce correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to announce your intent to do an onside kick. Right?
Absolutely, yes.
So then that was a possibility. I'm pretty sure it's still legal. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you can kick it off the block for a kickoff and try to bounce it, right?
Correct.
But I'm pretty sure you can still do a drop kick on a kickoff. Is that correct?
I don't know. That's I had to look over and see.
So the reason why let's assume that it is, right?
Okay, yeah.
He can do it, or you have someone else do it. If you look at a rugby kickoff, right? All kickoffs are a drop kick. So that means a lot of them, any kicker for a top team in college can do this, right? LRZ, top of his game, can definitely do it. But you drop it, you hang it up high, it's going to go exactly 12 yards if you want it to. It can go exactly 20 yards, it can go exactly 15 yards, and it'll be outside the hash where it's going to be two guys that can, 2 or 3 guys that can get to it from there. So you either have a rugby player come in and kick that in a last second scenario, or LRZ's actual skill set is being able to get up for the ball, right? So there are plays in rugby where you literally kick pass it to the end zone for a try. You can find him doing this where the ball comes out across, spins across, the guy first receiver catches the ball, kicks it cross field high, and he's going up and getting it at the highest point, full extension, going up and getting it for the score, or on a short kickoff, getting up, batting it back so his team can grab it. Those are all rugby concepts that I think, in the new kickoff rules could be translated very, very well. Whether it's off the block, you just have to get it to bounce high. So if you can get it high and 12 yards, look at some rugby guys to get ideas in terms of how to contest onside kicks and win it back, because everybody's way closer. Now, if you can win that, if you can win it, then you're like at the 35-yard line.
So Kathy said it before I did. I'm skeptical of the ball being different may make the difference. And so because the rugby ball, it's a little bit more bigger, it has a little bit more inflation, Marcus bring that thing up, has a little bit more balance.
Yeah, the sweet spot is definitely bigger on a rugby ball than it is a football.
Right.
It's just the mechanics of it. But we're talking professionals, right? We're not talking Joe Schmo doing the drop kick. And from experience, there's not, when you're playing on turf or perfect grass that NFL fields provide, the bounce is consistent every single time, and so you can train for it, right? Rugby a lot of times is played on a wet muddy ground at the amateur levels, and you're still getting guys who are hanging it up 30 yards in the air, and it comes down 12 yards down. And that's a function of the rugby ball. But you tell somebody hey, you have to be able to perform this to a professional athlete, or you're axed. I'll bet good money that guy's going to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, very, very intriguing. Very intriguing.
For clarity, yes, a drop kick is legal in the NFL and can be used for field goal conversions and kickoffs. So
okay, all right, good deal, Coach. Listen, I've enjoyed this conversation. We got to get you back on. Just when this thing starts, when this thing starts rolling, we start seeing how everything's going to pan out. Him making the 53-man roster, or even if he's on the practice squad, moving up, which I would think he would probably do relatively soon. But man, your expertise and your knowledge, man, we appreciate it so much, man. Thank you for coming out on here, just speaking to everybody about all of this with the LRZ and whatnot. I've learned so much with this. I told you, man, I got to come by and I got to come check you out. Okay. I need to come out to a practice. All right. I need to come out to a practice, man, and come see what you guys are doing.
Week, baby. The grind starts next week. The guys are they're ready. First preseason scrimmage is going to be against my alma mater, Indiana University, on August 31st, August 30th, 6 p.m. here in Lexington. So we're we kick it off right. Big state, regional rival, maybe not conference rival, but definitely a traditional regional rival that that both teams are really geared up for.
Okay. Well, I just now wrote it down. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and look at my schedule, man, and hopefully I'll be able to come out. And I'll talk to you a little bit about when y'all practice times are, because I'm gonna sneak in and get a good glimpse of some of the things, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, I might come out there, man, but I don't want y'all to hurt me. I just want to look. I just
no. If you want to come out, put some work in, we'll happily have you.
Okay. All right. Love to, man. Look, I'm a physical guy. I want to see these guys up, but yeah, there's some big boys out there in rugby, man. But
6'4", 270. He's ready to boom.
There we go. I appreciate it. Look, trust me, I appreciate you all sport more than you know. This whole thing with LRZ and this collaboration has been a wonderful thing for the NFL. And I said this is probably the greatest scenario you could possibly do, is bring him here with the Kansas City Chiefs, the world champs in football, with a guy that is very visual like LRZ, that will just make this thing explode, okay, on the world stage. And so I'm just looking forward to it, for this thing just get better and better. So appreciate it, Coach Enari. Really, 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 really that much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
Thank
Coach.
you, boys. I really appreciate having me on. Just let me know if anything I can do for you.
Okay. And you got a lot of people over here saying thank you. I appreciate it, Coach. They've been very patient just listening to this thing, man. It just kind of run my mouth, man. I'm like somebody just trying to take it all in. So
we appreciate it. We'll definitely have you on, Coach, because I do think this LRC thing is I know there's a lot of doubters out there. Actually, so you got some of the Chief fans mad at us that we talk about LRC as much as we do, but then you have a lot of our fans across the pond who are big fans and we talk about LRC. But I do think this ride is gonna continue throughout the season, because I do think he's gonna make the squad.
Mm-hmm.
Hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Coach, you want to let them know, man, where to find you? Maybe social media wise and stuff like that, man. Let these people look you up, man, and check on you and root for the Wildcats, baby. Okay, national champs. All right.
Absolutely. So Instagram is going to be UK RFC. So RFC stands for Rugby Football Club, but at UK RFC. You can find us at University of Kentucky Rugby on Facebook, and on X we are Wildcats RFC. So we're updating. Everything's going to be coming up. Our website is KentuckyRugby.com, also KentuckyRugby.org. New website to launch here in the next week or so. So big things happening. All of our games will be streamed online. All of our home online. So hopefully we have some new fans from the chat that want to check us out, and we hope to be able to perform and do the hardest thing in sports, and that's a repeat championship. But that's for day 100, not day one. Day one is run hard, tackle hard, work hard.
There you go. Good. Well, look, man, y'all got a championship mindset, man, and much success to you all. Bring this championship back home again. So, Coach, man, like I said again, I appreciate it so much. Talk to these people right here in the chat. Marcus, is there anything that you need to say to Coach before?
No, he's pretty much he's checked off everything we had that I want to talk about tonight. You really did an amazing job, Coach. You did it for me, a person who's kind of a rugby, beginner when it comes to the knowledge of rugby. You kind of laid everything out for me. I understand a lot more now. I understand, LRC's prowess across the pond, and now I understand it now a little bit more. So I appreciate you, Coach.
All right. Appreciate you, Coach. All right. We'll check you later, man. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Take it easy, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, that was fantastic, JD. That was a really, really good episode, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed having Coach Enari on tonight. So LRC, you guys heard it here. You got the pros, you got the cons, and pretty much everything we've kind of said what he's gonna have problems with, and Coach kind of laid it out there for us. What he's gonna be good at, what he's gonna struggle with, and it's gonna take some time. And
And I think we recognize that, didn't we, Marcus? This is going to take some time for sure for LRZ. But as this thing continues to develop, we're watching how he's kind of making his way. And so special teams is going to be the key for him. For him to get out there on the field, for him to make the 53-man roster, I think special teams is going to be the way he goes, right? I think that's going to be his road. Because he brings the skill set, no doubt about it, like you said, in the open field, tackling, but also, too, maybe in the return game. If you want to try to do some very creative things offensively in the special teams, he could do that, too. But I know this as a special teams coach, the value that you place in a guy that plays special teams, that's his specialty is huge. It's absolutely huge. So, I think, man, I think he's going to make it now. After having this conversation, man, just watching him in that little bit, the running back is on the back burner. We'll let him develop in those things, when he's doing scout team and all those. We'll let him develop in that, okay? Yeah. That's going to take some time. But as far as like all the other stuff, does he make that 53-man roster? That's the question everybody has to ask, okay? That's the question everybody has to ask. So
that's where special teams comes in. That's what we've been saying all along. That's the golden ticket for LRC, not offense, not running back, and maybe spots. Well, they'll put them in, and like you said, they may do a play where we've seen Pop and Kelsey do it, where Kelsey's running an out route and Pop's running a swing pass out of the backfield. Kelsey catches it and throws it to Pop. Maybe that's LRC, and maybe it's also window dressing where you think it's LRC again. It's going to do some lateral business, and they don't do anything with him at all.
Right.
There could be plays like that, but really, he's going to make his bread and butter, like doing what we talked about on what we saw on the the video there, making tackles on special teams, doing different things special teams wise. So, yeah. But all right, guys. So we're going to get into a little bit of Chiefs stuff before to preview what we've seen. We're going to see Saturday, first preseason game of the year. So we'll go kind of quickly with that since we've already been on here for about an hour and 20. But we'll go quick because there's still some hot stuff out there, JD. The guy that we talked – what were you going to say? You were going to say something?
No, I was going to say, look, man, maybe what we had to do is maybe we had to have like a quick little thing to do maybe on Friday to talk a little bit more about maybe some of the stuff. I don't know. We'll talk about that, maybe give the people something to see, maybe a 10 or 15-minute thing possibly. But let's talk about it now. Okay. But we'll talk about this too, man. I think this is important. But go ahead.
Yeah, we do have – remember, we do have our Saturday show, our post-game show on Saturday, and I think that'll be probably a late night one because the game starts at 7.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
But nonetheless, we'll go quickly with this. So Kadarius Toney, who we talked about beginning of preseason or beginning of training camp, playing running back, playing receiver. Since then, he's been hurt. Since he came back from the injury, he's now, barely playing with the ones. And yesterday when the depth chart came out, Kadarius Toney was at first I didn't see him. I was like, wait, did we cut him? Because I didn't see him. And then I looked, kept going, and he was the 10th man on the wide receiver depth chart. So it seems it seems like things aren't working out as we thought at the beginning of training camp. Although we were kind of excited at the beginning of training camp, but looks like that excitement's kind of wavered. But JD, when you see this, when he's buried, and I know it's the initial depth chart, but I'm curious what you think about the initial depth chart since you played in the NFL for so long. But do you think this is the end is near for Kadarius Toney in Kansas City after seeing him so far down on the depth chart?
So I haven't seen the depth chart, man, but I think it is just unfortunate that he continues to get hurt. And like I said, no fault of his own, man. It's just these injuries just kind of stack up. And so a guy that's very talented, anytime something like this happens, it just puts you behind 8 ball. It does. I don't know where this thing is going to go. Is he going to be someone who's healthy enough to play the 3 preseason games and then make a choice, the decision on him? But it's man, I hate seeing this. I really do. Because it was a bright spot. I think everybody was talking like, oh, we're utilizing him. We put him in the backfield. We can do this, all these different things and these possibilities. And all of a sudden, just kind of gets hindered with the injuries, man. So I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not going to speculate, but it's not good news being that far on the depth chart. And so you got to be spectacular on everything that you do to move up. So
yeah,
that's why I'm at.
And the fact that, he was rotating with running backs, was rotating with receivers, and he has the injury, and that's been kind of thing that's kind of plagued him throughout his career so far with New York, and then us and the whole, shady business behind him being out in the Super Bowl. He was injured. He said he wasn't injured. Then he was injured. And then today he wasn't practicing. Andre Chenault, somebody in our chat who was at practice yesterday, so he was carted off again yesterday, but it was a precautionary carted off, is what they said. But I mean, when you see that and you see him buried at the depth chart, it's there's a lot there. There's a lot of things there, and we traded Amir Smith-Marset last year for a 7th round pick. Toney does have some talent. Maybe some team out there may want to take a flyer on him, but I don't know.
I tell you, man, when you have injuries stacking up, some people just they try to avoid you like the plague. I'm telling you. So I don't know, but yeah, hard to hear that. So.
How much do you take away from the depth chart with 90 man right now? There's been no cuts, right? But how much do you take away from the initial depth chart?
I mean, at this moment, you know who the starters are going to be pretty much, and maybe your 2. Other than that, all the other guys after that, man, is pretty much kind of speculation. There's gonna be some shocks of guys not making it. Okay, I just want to get people prepared, really, of a name yeah, it happens every year. It happens every single year. But I do believe the Chiefs are going to keep their core guys together, okay? Unless the guy's just messing up and you just can't get it right. I don't see them moving on from particular guys. So I don't put any stock into it right now. Let's wait till Saturday. Then we can have a better assessment on seeing how things work with guys. So,
and my question to you is, if he's deemed as injured on Saturday, does that not bode well for him?
No, they don't bode for anybody. I don't care if anybody goes out there and screws up. It ain't gonna bode well for him. So,
no, I'm saying if he doesn't play at all, if he
don't play at all. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, unless he's just injured. If he's injured, yeah, I mean, he can't play. So they may just regulate and say, okay, precautionary. We'll wait till the last 2 games. That's what it's going to be. Stu, no, go Bucks. No, Stu. No, Stu says, yeah, great show tonight. I got to go Bucks. Nah. Okay, now you're a Bucks fan? Thought you were a Philly guy. You New Jersey guy, Stu. Come on now. Malibu Stu. Come on. No better than that. All right? Chiefs all day, baby. Go ahead. Yeah.
No, yeah. So, but okay, let's say he doesn't play because he's got the ankle and he's battling the ankle and back injury. Appreciate their anonymous Mango. But yeah, he has the ankle and back injury. That's 2 of the things he's battling right now.
Ankle and back. Got an ankle and back injury? Lord have mercy.
Battling a few things there. But yeah, if he doesn't play because of injury, I feel like that has to impact him. I know injury, you can't play when you're injured, but that also that's factor into the history of, Tony just having injuries all the time. And we're talking about availability,
Best ability is availability. And so, they say it all the time. You can't make the club in the tub. And, he's been going through his little injuries, little nicks here and there, man. And that's hard just when you get that type of a reputation. It's tough. So,
yeah. Unfortunate, but it's the NFL, and we have a talented roster and a talented wide receiver room. So
right, that's how it works.
All right, so we're gonna go through our next topic here just really quickly. So another big shock on this. It's the initial depth chart, so I'm not going to take that much from it, but the big shock here was not Nico Remigio starting at kick return, because we've been hearing all season long about how he was doing great from Dave Tobe. But the one thing that kind of made me was like, whoa, what? Xavier Worthy is starting punt returner going to week 1 of the preseason. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought it was going to be Remigio across the board, or maybe Hardman. Hardman was the backup for both kick return and punt return. But are you surprised at all, Xavier Worthy? They're going to have to roll him out there as the starting punt returner. Are you surprised by that?
No, man. We want to see some speed. Put him out there, see what he can do. So, we might have found something with Worthy as a kick returner. And we've seen him in college, what he can do. So why not? Why not utilize him now? And especially if you got guys out here who could play. Okay, so heaven forbid something happened to Worthy and he's just not the guy, then so be it. You don't really miss out on anything. But we want to see what he can do, right? Put him out there as a starting punt returner. Cool. Okay, he's a young guy. He can play that, no problem. Remigio as starting kick returner. We want to see what he's able to do. I want to see him take one to the house, okay? And we said, man, this is predicated off a guy makes it or not. How good a return he's going to do, Marcus, right? Everybody's speaking his praises, so it's going to be good to see him on special teams and as a wide receiver. So we'll just have to see. But I'm not shocked by none of these guys. Not at all, man. Yeah, throw these guys out there, man. They're young. They got young legs. Absolutely use them as that.
Remigio, I'm not surprised about. I thought he was going to be the kick returner and the punt returner. Worthy at punt returner kind of scares me just because he's my first round pick. I want him in a bubble until week 1 of the NFL season. That's what I want. I don't want to play a punt returner. That was the one thing I was.
But look, man, we got Hollywood Brown, we got Rashid Rice, Harmon's out there, so we got guys that can play if something happened with Worthy. And look, you can't protect the guy forever. Sometimes you got to throw a guy in the fire and see what you can do. Okay, this is preseason. He'll protect himself. Ain't like he's gonna go ahead and take a hit. That joker, he'll step out of bounds before he'll get something devastating him. You know what I mean? Or come down. So I'm not really worried about that at all. He'll be fine.
Yeah, Witchy Hall, LOL. Marcus has injury phobia. Damn right I do. I do not want our first round pick to hurt. I do not want him hurt.
He's returning one. He's like, no.
Get out of bounds. Go
right. That sucker take you to the house. You'll be like, yeah. So he'll be fine. I think people don't realize, like, he's been playing football for a long time with his body type. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. All right.
This is the NFL, though. I mean, I know, yes, he was playing a high-level football at Texas, but still, NFL we're talking about here.
4-2 is 4-2 all day. I don't care what level that is. And this is official laser time, okay? So it ain't no, is he running a 4-4? No, he's an official 4-2, okay? So.
Yeah, like my 4-5, 4-5-8, but we say 4-5 around these parts.
That's right. What you run? A 4-5? Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a 4-5-9. Yeah.
We don't say that last 10th.
Yeah, no. But yeah, good.
We got a nice little comment here from Audio Talk. This is the channel to get the best perspective on the Chiefs. And JD, your analysis rocks. Really appreciate your knowledge, analysis, and communication style. Thank you, Mason, as well. Mason. Oh, Marcus. Okay.
Yeah, you got it right. Marcus, you got it right. Appreciate you. Thank you for saying so.
All right, so we got the last topic here. Obviously, week 1 of the preseason starts for the Chiefs on Saturday at 7 o'clock, I believe. Let me check my calendar here. Yeah, 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 6 p.m. For you all out in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
So, JD, we talked about it pretty much the last few weeks. Guys are looking for guys that, who may be on the bubble. But when we go to Saturday, and we know the starters are at least going to play the first quarter per Andy Reid today. I love how old school he is. You see all these other teams out here saying they're not going to play their starters at all. The quarterbacks will not play maybe all preseason, but Andy's still throwing his guys out there week 1 of preseason. But who's one guy offensively and one guy defensively that you're going to be kind of locked on to come Saturday night?
Two guys, okay? And I had actually two guys on defense that I was looking at. Offensively, Daenerys Prince. Okay, that's my offensive guy I want to see. I'm going to check him out. See if he's gotten better, learned. He's going to get tested. But that's the guy that I want to see on offense for us. Defensively, it's going to be King Felix and Najee Johnson. Those are two guys to be watching. So that's it. That's the two.
You stole my Najee one there, JD.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay. Yo, man, we're rooting for Najee. Okay, we're rooting for him. So
actually, you had Daenerys and Najee, two friends of the show there. I like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Come on, man. That's our guys. So, we gotta make sure, man, we get up there, cheer them on and, stand on the table for them, man. So what about you? Who's your two guys, offense and defense?
So offensively, I think everyone should know this. It's the my guy that we've been screaming for the rooftops for the last few years, or last 2 years at least, is Justin Ross. I want Justin Ross to come in there, score 2 touchdowns with Carson Wentz throwing him back of the end zone fades. That's what I want. And I think we might actually see it. And I'm also surprised that the betting line on this, we were 1-point underdog. I think our depth is pretty damn good. And I think when it comes to preseason games, you got to look at the depth of our teams. And I just think we're going. Our number 1 receiver last year going into the season is the number 10th receiver right now. I mean, that just tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ross offensively, and then defensively, Najee. I want to see how Najee comes back from the injury, even the one that he sustained last week, the hamstring injury, which he's fine now again. But, yeah, I want to see him back out there and playing and seeing what he does. I like that you said King Felix. That's another good one. He's been tearing up in camp so far. And also, sleeper-wise, probably our guy Kingsley, Sumatea.
Yeah,
I want to see how he does in actual game time. And Wanye got hurt today, but they said he's fine. However, I mean that's the guy's battle at that left tackle spot. It's all yours now. It's time for you to go out there and kind of show it and showcase to the world who you are as the left tackle for Patrick Mahomes, the blindside protector. So those are the 4 guys I'm looking at.
Yeah, I agree with you. So they got Mac Jones as the backup quarterback to Trevor Lawrence.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Should beat the brakes off that joker.
Yeah, so Wentz and Mac Jones, I think it's a different weight class.
Yeah. Come on, man. We'll be fine, and I think Carson Wentz he's going to light it up. I'm so happy he's here, man. I'm telling you, man. I was a huge Carson Wentz fan. I've always wanted him to come back. He's had the injuries and stuff like that. Big guy, could throw the football. But I think this scenario for him is a good one. It's a good one for him. So this will be great. I like it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see his playing style because he's being kind of like a gunslinger, kind of test the ball. I mean, he'll test his arm strength. And he'll test it in double coverage sometimes. Gonna be kind of curious to see how he does with Andy Reid now, because Andy Reid's kind of honed, that was kind of something that everyone talked about Mahomes being that kind of, not gun shy in college where you kind of test the ball, tested in different areas. And I'm curious to see if Andy kind of hones him in a little bit, reels him in, and see how he just does. But so far, he's been tearing it up at camp. And most other teams, he'd probably be vying for a starting gig, but because who he's behind, he knows he's not going to get the starting gig, so he's going out there just doing his thing.
I think not having that pressure on him, man, you can go out and just play free like you want to. Andre Schnau said Wentz lit it up at training camp, man. So he's a good quarterback. I always thought he was. Wabi Nega said LRZ and Nico is who he's looking to see in training camp. So,
yeah, throw LRZ in the list too. Yeah, I'm so this preseason is gonna be so fun to watch. There's so many guys that we're gonna be looking at, and it's like. Because we're talking about this team so deep, the bubble's going to be one of those things where we might see guys that we're like, we're really big fans of get cut. And it's like, wow, like, man, I can't believe he got cut. But that's the way it goes when you have a talented team.
Yeah. Gary Holland asks, man, you going to take 4 running backs or 4 tight ends this year? No, not 4 running backs. It'll be 3. I think LRZ will be like one of those special things. I don't. He'll probably just be like that
athlete.
Cut. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, should be a good preseason. It should be a good first game out the gate. But just to remind you guys, so we'll be doing a post game show on Bleacher Report Saturday right after the game. And if you guys cannot make the Bleacher Report, it'll be on our YouTube channel probably like an hour afterwards. So just be ready to watch us on the live stream on Bleacher Report. If not, you'll see us on our premiere here like shortly after that on YouTube. So we hope you guys can stop by the Bleacher Report stream and hang out with us after the game to talk about some of the highlights of Saturday night against the Jaguars.
Yeah. Good show tonight, man. Really good show. Just want to say thank you for everybody that came in. Kathy Welsh, Go Forever KC, YB Negative, Jubel Ray. Let me see. Andrea, Witchy Hall. Let me see who else we got. Gary Holland, appreciate it. Lacey Snake, Wendy, good seeing you again, coming in here. Let me see who else we got in Audio Talk. Appreciate it for saying the good words, man. We appreciate every bit of that. Let me see who else. Newt was in here. Newt, I know he's probably gone already. Stu, good seeing you. Charles Driver, Mike Brennan, Anonymous Mango, good seeing you out here. Holly Winchell. Let me see who else we got. Neff. Good seeing you, Neff. I'll see you tomorrow for sure. I'm trying to think who else. Hey, if I didn't say your name, you know we love you. We appreciate y'all coming in, seeing this great episode that we did. Very informative. Nicole Bell, good seeing you too. You've had a lot of good chats I was looking at. Thank you for putting your 2 cents in. So, look, y'all be well. God bless each and every one of y'all. And so, like you said, Marcus, we'll be on Bleacher Report. They'll be able to see it. Man, it's gonna be exciting game coming up. Exciting game. So can't wait to see it.
The season is here, JD.
It's here. It's here, baby. It's here. I am ready. Let's go. Let's go, man. I'm trying to tell you. I might I might shed a tear. You know how Chris Jones shed a tear in the Super Bowl. I might shed a tear when they start playing, doing the national anthem myself. So it's be good. Yeah. I love it.
All right, guys. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the episode, this insightful episode, and we will see you guys Saturday night right after the Chiefs and Jaguars complete their week 1 preseason game. Love you guys. We'll see you guys Saturday night.
Guys. All right, Marcus. Love you, my brother. I'll be good. See y'all then.
See everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.